Hi, everybody. So, I'm going to do something fun and different today. I've actually been a little traveler and I'm staying at an Airbnb right now and I'm in this like super cute little kitchen and I thought it would be really fun and kind of funny even to channel Thoth in my cute little kitchen today. So, I'm going to relax. I have a little cute little hot tea. And I'm just going to do this. Okay? So brace yourself. So I'm just gonna relax. I'm gonna tone it on down. What is this? What is the topic? Basically, I'm just gonna channel Thoth. Who is Thoth? He's an Egyptian guy. I don't know much more about him than that. I kind of like to keep things hidden. I don't know everything because I wanna have an experience that is unpredictable. That I don't have any background on. I mean, I have some background. He comes from Egypt. I think he's a god of some kind. I think he has something to do with like the written word. I didn't want to research it. I didn't want to look it up. You guys can tell me. But I just want to relax. Perhaps it's an Egyptian message. Perhaps it's a message about the collective consciousness today from a different perspective than my higher self and spirit guides or somebody else that I might channel. I'm getting cozy now. I'm just relaxing my energy field. I'm taking a moment here. So when I do channeling, I can feel what is energy shifting changes. It's a little jarring and exhausting right now. So I feel a little kind of in like a whirlwind of just a lot of dense energy as I'm getting connected. And what I see, what the message is that comes through me, it's going to be visual. I'm going to talk through the vision of what I see, and then we all learn something from it, okay? That was Thoth talking right there. He was telling me to explain this. He's talking about how valuable it is for people to have discoveries. Discoveries that are wise, discoveries about wisdom, discoveries that are also empowering and inspiring an active pursuit for wisdom, self discovery, empowerment, stuff like that. He says that without wisdom, we don't have anything to contemplate or to better ourselves or a goal in which to reach. It takes experiences to gain wisdom, but he's also talking about wisdom that is through communication. Without communication of some various form, he's showing me communication that comes through language. He shows me communication that is psychic. He shows me communication that is love. Love too is communication, or a hug is communication, or a stern finger in your face is also communication. This is expression of the soul, he says. How are you expressing your soul today? What is your version of communication? Communication is what helps us feel connected to each other. Even if the connection is jarring and making me feel pissed off, making me feel angry inside, or if the communication just makes me love you that much more, or makes me feel warm and fuzzy, or makes me feel deep or contemplative or curious or wondering or wanting an answer. Communication helps us discover ourselves through the various emotions that we have as human beings. He says communication is important. He shows me a world where people don't speak, don't share voice, don't share heart, even if it's anger. They don't share anything. People don't share thought, even. Because people don't have a thought if they have no voice to speak or any heart to feel or any mind in which to self discover. It's a barren wasteland, and people are sort of walking around, sort of like aimless, mindless drones. And people even bump into each other, but they don't react to it. It's just sort of like a moment, and they just keep moving. So they show me what it's like a barren wasteland, like a total deserty like location, and it's a whole planet. And there's people that have like kind of big eyes, and they look robotic, but they look human at the same time. Their behavior is robotic, but they just sort of walk forward without any facial reactions, without any motivation, without any understanding or knowing. And they bump into each other sometimes. They're sort of walking along a straight line, sometimes horizontally, sometimes vertically, and they're just aimlessly walking around an infinitely dead world. And so he's showing me this. A world without communication. Okay. He's saying many things here. It has to do with psychic communication, but it also has to do with he shows me what is a mother and a baby, and they're making eye contact. The mother is holding the baby really close, and the baby feels warm, and they're communicating through eye contact. This would be a psychic communication. We wouldn't define it as a psychic communication. We would just define this as a normal interaction. Mother loves baby, baby loves mother, mother and baby are gazing into each other's eyes. They're gazing into each other's souls. As they gaze into each other's souls, their hearts are beating, and there's an extremely warm energy of love that is filling both of their environments, their spiritual atmosphere environments, and it's entirely psychic. No, not a single word is spoken. He's wanting to know how valuable you think that version of communication is. There's a sad feeling that I'm experiencing, and the sadness is bringing me down. He shows me a person lonely, there's an inner loneliness. Whether they have friends, family, they have an inner loneliness. And he shows me them in a state of experiencing their inner loneliness, and there's tears going down their face. This human being is expressing a communication about inner loneliness. There's things going on about, is this person really lonely? And who are they communicating to? The air, the wall, the floor, the chair they're sitting on, communicating with their higher self, communicating with their soul, communicating with the collective consciousness, communicating with God, communicating with that bird outside, communicating with who? Who is this person in this moment who feels deep loneliness, internal loneliness in their own world, having a moment, feeling emotional, crying to themselves? Nobody else is here. Thoth is saying this person is communicating. But who are they communicating with? Does communication have to happen to an actual person that is looking back at you? Or can communication happen with some other part of yourself? Like your higher self in that moment? Who are you expressing this feeling with? Your spirit guides, your higher self, angels, God? The collective consciousness also feels this. Every time somebody cries on this planet, we are all crying. We're all connected. Even if I don't necessarily feel that person crying over there, I feel sad in a different way. I feel the struggle and the pain and suffering of the totality in a different way. And the more we raise our vibration, the more connected or feeling the intricacies of those connections, we're going to become very higher awareness about all of this stuff. And you won't be able to hide anymore. I know that's a strange idea, that you wouldn't be able to hide. Who are you hiding from? What are you hiding within yourself? Why are you not able to express yourself fully? Do you think you can really hide? As we raise our vibration, we're going to know, everybody's going to know everything about you. And you're going to know everything about me. And you're going to know everything about everybody. In a world where there's no judgment. In a world where you can be accepted. In a world where you can be understood. In a world where you don't have to feel alone in your own world having to communicate to an invisible reality. But it's still communication, and it's still a discovery, and it's still learning. You see? It's all a part of the higher wisdom. We're talking about Egypt, and I anticipated we might go to Egypt or see something kind of Egyptian, but there's nothing Egypt about this. He's sort of having a chuckle with me about it because he's not going to go there. It's interesting because there's something about timelines, and why do we need to go into the past? Are we still trying to discover ourselves from the past? As in, are we trying to discover who we are today based on who we were before? Are we still trying to do that? Or are we ready to just say, you know what, past is in the past. Who am I today? And who am I tomorrow? Or who do I want to become tomorrow? But to stay in the now experience. Obviously, we all have sort of a curiosity about Egypt and wanting to feel more connected to something interesting. Where's the interesting stuff gone in this world? We gotta find it. We often find it on YouTube or the internet, or maybe in a new movie that just came out, or an awesome new video game or something. But where's the magic? Where's the rituals? Where's the ceremonies? Excuse me. Where's the elite way people used to express themselves, formally or informally, or totally different structure of society or way of being, identifying yourself or believing in something more than we do today. There's something different but very interesting about Egypt. And it's something that feels like there's more there than we know. But what about our world today? Why can't we create something more here than we know? Because it already is here, we just aren't finding it because we're still looking for it inside of ourselves. We're still going into the past. We're trying to find it there. And really, we just need to be living for today and creating the excitement through having communication experiences and discovering the wisdom through experiencing life, right? He doesn't let me see what he looks like. He doesn't give me any image of what he looks like. I could see Thoth as, who knows, like a man with a gristly beard and a cane, and he looks like a wizard, you know? The Thoth could look like anything. He could look like an insect. He could look like an alien being. He could look like, who knows what? He could look like a gorgeous princess. We don't know. Thoth could look like anything. He's not going to show me, he's not going to let me see any persona of what he might look like. He just won't show me. He's zero. He's showing me zero. He shows me nothing. I keep trying to go into Egypt. He's just like creates a gray screen. He's showing me nothing of Egypt. But I do feel what is the experience of a smile on his face. He keeps smiling. And the more he smiles, the more I feel like I'm gravitating to something. It feels cartoonish. It feels silly. It reminds me of a Dr. Seuss type of image. It's kind of an odd looking bird, but it got a yellow head and it's got a beak, kind of like a pelican, but it's also really thin and skinny, and it stands upright like a person, and it looks very much so like a cartoon. There's something about this bird's face too. What is he say? He's showing me something even funnier. Where have I seen this? Alice in Wonderland. The old one. The old version of Alice in Wonderland? Wasn't it like the second one maybe? There was some really weird bird man. He had like really stern eyes. Or is this coming from Sesame Street? I don't know, but he almost looks like statuesque. He's gray in color. He has really stern like black eyebrows, and he's weird. But I swear it comes from Alice in Wonderland. He shows me this too. I don't know why he's so funny right now. He asked me which one do I like better. I tell him I like the second one because it makes me laugh more. It reminds me of Alice in Wonderland, and I didn't expect that, and I like funny, unexpected things. He asked me, so I can't be the yellow bird. I have to be this other bird to make you happy? And I say, where are we going with this? You can be whoever you want, and I'll be happy. He's thinking about this response. He parts both images, and I feel some sort of harmony that comes from way back there. It's sort of like an orb of energy, and it's sort of wafting around, but it looks like straight lines. Like kind of straight looking, but like even straight curves. It doesn't feel kind of like smoke, I guess. It's more like straw, pieces of straw, just very specific different ones. Um, Really thin, like dried, like angel hair pasta, but they're kind of they twist in a way, and they're light green color and they go into white. And there's this intense reddish sort of lightning bolts on the inside, and then also clear orb. Oh, it's really cool. It's some sort of really artistic version of what like a swan would look like. It has white, it's sort of white feathers in the back. I'm starting to experience what is a neck. It's a really contemporary art type image of what a swan looks like. It's really cool looking. It's really random. It's kind of awing. It blows my mind kind of thing. It takes my breath away. I could never have even imagined it to look like that. It's so neat looking. It's colorful. It reminds me of so many different things. Who would have thought a swan body could be like a clear orb with red, really intense red lightning bolts of electricity and like crazy green looking wings that are also stick like? I mean, but then have pure white, like feathers of a tail and a neck. And so the body looks really like contemporary art, but like the neck and the feathers look really like whiter than any white color I've ever seen. It's just like they're glowing. I'm in awe of it. He asked me if I like this image. He doesn't say it is an image of himself. He just asked me if I like the image. And I say I do. We are exploring communication in a way that how I appreciated each image differently, and how they made me feel something different inside. And all it was an image. I don't know which one I like better. I would say the Alice in Wonderland bird makes me laugh, but this swan makes me feel like really like I'm expanding or growing. I feel like I'm healing when I look at this image. I feel like it's breathtaking. It's almost more than I could imagine. Like it breaks the barriers for me. And so in that way, I guess the awing experience is more meaningful than the humorous one. He appreciates that response. He found that interesting. That I could decide what I liked better, and that I would determine that I was more taken by an awing experience over a humorous experience. He asked me if I think other souls would be more taken by a humorous experience over an awing experience. I'm just so in awe right now. I feel changed inside. I can't even think further about that comment. It changes something in my heart, and I feel like the message in my heart is it's like something we would all feel in our hearts, like why can't the world be like the swan? I get humor is great, but sometimes it's really amazing to have something so raw and so real and so unbelievable and so imaginative and so creative and so beautiful that it's unbelievable. It's like a miracle in its own design. I feel like a lot of us want that, want to have that experience, want to have that feeling within ourselves. Just a moment, things are changing. I feel like building blocks are falling down. I feel like all the buildings of New York City, for instance, were just building blocks and they're all falling down. And there's so many tears and so much sadness. Because you can't put the world back together again the way it was. You can't bring people back to life. You can't change the world, is the way this feels. This is an important message. A lot of people feel in their heart that you cannot change the world. And the world right now is falling apart, and there's no way to bring it back to life or put the pieces back the way they go. He says you don't want them to go back the way they go. You don't want Egypt to be returning to this earth. Egypt is buried in the sand for a reason. He says you want this world to become dismantled so it can be reborn into something like heaven. And if you are afraid that the dismantling is the destruction, it is a part of your own dismantling, your own self-destruction, and your own rebirth. The world is also you. I just see so many people crying and so many people saying the same thing. We can't change the world. I can't change the world. I can't force the world to be different. I mean, this sadness is overwhelming. Especially after seeing that beautiful swan. It's just really... This isn't my own heart, because my heart, Abbey's heart, I don't care what I see about a dismantling world. I know the truth. I know what creates rebirth. I know that creates healing. You have to break down structures in order to build from a fresh new start. It's a good thing. But I also know the feeling of people wanting to see a better world and not knowing how to participate in changing things. And so we just allow things to happen as they will, and we just get swept with the tide and see where the tide takes us. And the fear is that it's taking us all to our death. He keeps showing me the same image. New York City is built with blocks, like children's blocks, and I see the blocks like just somebody takes an arm and just bam, and they all fall down. All the blocks fall down, and the blocks are like people too. They're falling down and crying and screaming, and their life is over. Splat. It's very disturbing, sad, and it makes the whole heart of the collective consciousness cry and feel like there's no hope. I'm going to continue to watch this image until I can find acceptance with it. Acceptance is power. Emotions are what bring us to our knees, what bring us down in frequency, or what bring us into feeling we are not strong enough, we are not capable, the power is not in our hands. So I will continue to look at this image, and I will become stronger than it. And I encourage you to see this image within yourself and become stronger than it. Find yourself picking up the people off of the ground and putting them back into the buildings, putting the blocks back where they go. Thoth said not to rebuild the way that we have built everything before. For starters, I just start with what I feel instinctively inspired to do. So I take these blocks, which are like people, and I put them back where they were, and I put the blocks back where they go. But something feels wrong about it, and it all falls down, and we start over again. And it feels like an inspiration to do it exactly the same way. They put people back where they go, and then we rebuild the buildings. And the buildings are at a certain point, and the people are at a certain point. Everything falls over again. There's a severe sorrow that takes place, a wave of sorrow, and then we start over again. How many times has the human race started over again in order to achieve ascension? And we did it the exact same way. Every single time we did it the exact same way. So how are we going to do it differently? We're not going to look at Egypt. We don't want to rebirth Egypt. What do we want to rebirth? Ourselves. To an experience we have been longing for. In our hearts is heaven. And isn't that what ascension is? Conquering the fear frequency, ascending into a love frequency, that which is heaven. He says it's not about the buildings, it's not about the people, it's about what's in your heart. It's about what you choose to experience in the frequency of love. He takes me to a beautiful beach. I'm really high up though, so I see the beach way down, and then I see the water, and I see what is the horizon. And the ocean waves are moving in and out. It's very peaceful. If you could rebuild this world, what would it look like, Abbey? I say, I don't know if the world would want to live in my world. Like, there's gonna be Care Bears, and there's gonna be rainbows, and it's gonna be happy, and there's gonna be hugs, lots of hugs. And like, that might be too much for people, but I know what a lot of people might like. I show them a vast garden where everybody in the community planted a seed of some flower or some bush or some tree that really brought out the best in their heart. And the whole community did this. And they have a community garden, and it grows with the people in the community and the children. Now, when they turn 5 years old, something like this, they get to pick out a seed and they get to plant it. And the garden grows as the community grows. But the garden is also a very long pathway or walkway to enjoy all the flowers, all the trees, all the bushes, everything that was planted from generation to generation to generation becomes miles and miles and miles and miles of garden. And a community of people that are in harmony with each other. There's some people who are really good at art, and some people who are really good at watching stars or weather patterns, or some people are really good at gardening, and somehow we work together to raise our children, to sew blankets, to create a garden that we can all feast and enjoy the fruits of our labor. And there are people who are really funny and tell really good jokes, and people who love to play musical instruments. And we share our art with each other, and we appreciate each other, and we can't do it without each other. And I say that's what I would want to give to this world. An ascended version to me would look like this. Community of people helping each other and growing a garden together. And appreciating each other's gifts. It's all relaxing now. It's relaxing now, more and more. Sort of coming back to reality in a cute little kitchen. That was really beautiful. I'm still collecting myself. I feel out of it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a really fun message. It was a really beautiful message. That's all I have to share for this video. If you're interested in visiting with me for a psychic session, please visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. You can also find me on Patreon, also at Abbey Normals Wisdom Quest. So I want to thank you all for watching and for supporting me, and I wish you all a super wonderful day.